Hello? Okay, hopefully you can hear me. But hi, YouTube. Welcome to my first ever video. My name's Liz. The point of this channel is just to sort of document the books that I've read and just kind of have a little time capsule for myself. And if any of the stuff that I say helps you figure out your next read or just, I don't know, makes you think a little bit differently, that would be awesome. For this video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I've read in January and February. Let's get into it. So just for some background, last year I only read one book. One book. Because I always told myself I was too busy, I didn't like reading, just all that stuff everyone says. And it's honestly like not true. Like everyone has time to read. Everyone has time to read, guys. Just read for 5 minutes a day in your bed. It's so fast. And you'll end up, if you like the book, you'll read for longer. But just start with something really small like that. And trust me, it'll build up. Especially if your goal is just to pick up a book once a day. Alright. I'm reading off of my iPad. So that's why I keep looking down. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. Okay. In January and February, I read 12 books, which is crazy for me. You guys don't know me, but it's very impressive compared to last year, obviously. It's pretty basic. I read sort of any book that you kind of stumble upon on Instagram. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I started off on a book that I knew I would like or that's generally pretty well received, so that I wouldn't give up so easily. And yeah, one of the tricks that I found in the beginning is when you start a book, it's kind of nice to listen to the audiobook in the beginning. It just helps you sort of set the tone. So I found that the audiobook, just for 2 or 3 pages in the beginning, super helpful because you can kind of read the rest of the book sort of with that voice if you liked it, and if you didn't, then just use your own voice, I guess. So yeah, I'm just gonna go in chronological order, starting with I Who Have Never Known Men. I'll put that wait, there. Sorry, I'm reversed, but I'll put it here somewhere, probably all the books. Okay. I don't have it on me. I actually don't have any of these books on me, but it was very popular last year. I saw it on a lot of best books of 2025. But honestly, I had mixed feelings about this one. I didn't love the ending while reading it, and it just felt really slow. But now, after reflecting a little bit more, I think that the ending, even though I didn't love it, made sense. I don't think there's any other way it could have ended. I really liked the way that it asked questions about the world. I really liked that it was kind of reflective. I feel like it had a very strong start, but then it kind of fell off towards the end. It was very interesting in the beginning. I had a lot of questions. I was really thinking, and then, I don't know, maybe I got bored of the book, but it just wasn't doing the same for me towards middle to end. And since this is a really short book, that's 70 good pages, strong pages, and it sort of fell off for me, so not my favorite. I will say I think that the expectations I had going into reading this book were way too high, and that's probably why I didn't like it as much. I really thought it was going to amaze me, and it was fine. If you want to read this book, I'm not saying don't, but just know that you might not love it. Anyway, so I'm going to give this, I gave it 3.5 stars. Alright, next book I read. This one is so good. This is The Center Cannot Hold by Ellen Sachs. Generally, so far this year, I've read some really, really great nonfiction. Really great. I have never heard anyone talk about The Center Cannot Hold, but at school we had a speaker talk about Ellen Sachs, and just an incredible, incredible story. Sachs is a really, really great writer, and it's a memoir. She's sort of talking about her experience with psychosis. Sachs talks about her journey with schizophrenia, which is really not something you hear about like at all, and it can feel really scary. And I thought this was such a great memoir. I laughed, I cried. It's just, okay, I act like those are the only emotions, but I felt all the emotions reading this. Trust, like, it was really, really good. The story is just so impactful, and it really makes you think about women and mental health. Okay, that sounds really basic when I say it, but a lot of women don't get diagnosed with schizophrenia until they're much older, and then they're not given the right resources, especially in the US. So I thought this was a really great sort of harsh reality, I guess, of how that whole system works here. And yeah, it was just great feeling your brain changing like that, and having people be scared of you is really, really dehumanizing. Just the way Sachs is able to capture that in her writing while still dealing with schizophrenia is amazing. Okay, next book was Frankenstein. Frankenstein, first classic I read. I wanted to sort of read a lot of classics. It took some getting used to. I think Mary Shelley's writing was a little bit tough for me in the beginning, where the letters were very slow at some parts, but the good parts were good. Like, if I was on a good stretch, like, I could not put this book down, and the writing was really, really good. Like, I don't have any other words. Like, it was really good. Since it took some getting used to, there were definitely times that I wanted to just stop reading it. I just wasn't feeling it. But knowing the story and the reputation it has, I stuck through it, and I'm so glad I did, because it was real good. It's just one of those stories where you think you know what happens and you think you understand it, but you really just have to read the original to actually know what's going on and to really understand what the point is. So yeah, I think my phone is dying. I'm just gonna keep going. It might die. Okay, so the next book I read was The Stranger. As you can see, you've probably heard of most of these books already, besides The Center Cannot Hold. Stranger's really important. I had a big philosophy phase in like middle school, early high school, and so I wanted to go back to Camus. And yeah, I thought this was a really good start to existentialism or absurdism, if you're kind of interested in that. I thought it was a really interesting way to use a story to push Camus' philosophy. Obviously now that's done a lot more, but at the time it wasn't as popular. Since I've read this, I've also read Existentialism is a Humanism by Jean-Paul Sartre, and that, like, anything I had to say bad about The Stranger, Sartre really defends and actually persuaded me. Must have been really great for its time. And yeah, it helps you really arrive at Camus' ideas of how the world works and why we're here, and just all those things. Just arrive at those on your own. He doesn't just spell it out for you, which I think is something that I used to look for in books. I read the Four Agreements in high school. That kind of just like tells you what to think. I kind of prefer this. I do plan on reading The Myth of Sisyphus, because that is more of like telling you what he thinks, but who knows if that's gonna happen. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally bought the book already. Next is Project Hail Mary. Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't give you guys ratings. Lord. Center Cannot Hold, 5. Frankenstein, I think I gave it like a 4.5, 4.25. God, I did not prepare for this video enough. No one's gonna watch this. Okay. Okay, so obviously my phone died, and now I'm all like fuzzy. Hello? Is it like too dark? Okay, whatever. I also realized that I have been recording for like a really long time. I need to speed this up if I want anyone to care about this video. So, where were we? Project Hail Mary. Okay, I actually just watched the movie today. I think it was really, really good. There was a lot that like wasn't exactly translated, but it didn't really need to be. I thought it did the book justice. It was just as funny as the book. So, watch the movie. Why is it so fuzzy? I guess the rest of this video is going to be fuzzy. Sorry. Okay, we're on Project Hail Mary. The book, not the movie. Okay, so it was so fun. I'd never read any just straight up fiction, like, that's not really supposed to have a serious message, I guess. I don't even know how else to say it. Like, this is a book that my high school self would, like, not take seriously because I was pretentious and annoying. But it was so good. It was funny. I actually was, like, laughing out loud. It was while I was taking pretty sciencey classes in school. Whenever there was, like, a physics or a chem thing, and I knew what he was talking about, I was like, yeah, like, I'm a genius. Like, yeah, I understand. Anyway, I'm a pretty slow reader because I'm kind of newer, and this was so easy to flip through. Like, I'd read 100 pages per, like, sit down. It's a very quick read. I don't even know how I was recording before. This is a mess. If anyone watches this video, like, I'm gonna give you a big hug because it's so nice. So I don't even know if I would watch this. Okay. Oh my god, this is never gonna end. Sorry, guys. I wrote here that I was worried that the movie wasn't gonna do it justice. This is my first time watching a movie after reading the book, so I didn't think I was gonna like it because everyone says that it always ruins a movie when you read the book first. But I thought the movie did a great job, and Ryan Gosling was great. Everyone else was great, so yeah, it was awesome. So I gave Hail Mary a 5. Yeah, 2 5s. I'm very liberal with those. Is that how you use liberal? I'm very, yeah, I guess liberal is the right word. Okay, next I read The Wall by Marlon Haushofer, I think. I don't have the author written down, but I think that's who wrote it. Very similar to I Have Never Known Men, so honestly not sure why I picked it up. A lot of people recommended it. I thought the premise was really interesting. It's about a woman who, all of a sudden there's just a big see-through wall that comes up, and she's stuck. She's the only person left, and she has to deal with that. Okay. The writing, amazing. I think that the original is written in German, so this is translated, but still it translated really well. It was beautifully written. There are a lot of really great quotes, which I'd want to pull up. I got this one from my school library, so I like actually don't have it, but it was great. Wait, like actually no, it wasn't. I don't know why I just said that. It was fine. Writing was great. Plot was boring. I'm sorry, it was boring. There was no chapters, so it wasn't rewarding at all to read, and I was kind of just dragging it on because I didn't realize how boring it was until halfway through, and then at that point I was like, I might as well just finish it, but it was really hard to finish. Like, it was so slow. It was repetitive. I mean, I know that's the point. It's supposed to be repetitive because that's your life if you're the only one left, but just it wasn't fun to read. Like, it might have a great parallel to the real world. It might have a great message, but it just wasn't fun to read, so couldn't rate it that high. I think I gave it like a 3. Alright, next we got Know My Name. This is a memoir by Chanel Miller, I think. So good. Another 5. It's about an SA survivor. It's such a brave story, and it's really, really well written. Like, really good. Chanel Miller is just so brave to be writing this. She's Jane Doe, I think, for most of the time, or Chanel Doe, I don't know, something like that. I thought it was very similar to The Center Cannot Hold, because it kind of talked about a lot of legal issues with problems that women face that just aren't looked at as much. Schizophrenia, people don't look at it, and when it's developed later, because that is what happens in girls and no one cares. And then sexual assault, I mean, way bigger now. This is like sort of at the beginning of the Me Too movement getting big again, but I mean, it didn't go away. It's still everywhere, especially at universities. She kind of felt a split self, which I feel like is so realistic, and people don't really talk about how they kind of divide themselves and get lost. So, really like that one. 5 out of 5, as I said. Next, we have Small Boat. I actually don't remember who wrote this, but it's popular enough. You probably know what I'm talking about. The only thing I wrote in my review was that it was unforgettable, but I literally don't remember that much of it. This is one of those books with a morally ambiguous narrator, which I thought was pretty interesting. It definitely worked for this one. Towards the end, there were some great quotes, but it was pretty dense. So every sentence was meaningful, or at least it felt like it would be meaningful. It makes you think, what would I have done? Why do I make the decisions I make? Very reflective. Next we have Stoner, John Williams Stoner. Lord, everyone loves this book. There's really nothing I can say that hasn't already been said. It's so mundane. Like, this is one of those things where it's like AI summary would like make this book sound trash, but it's actually really good because it's the writing and sort of just the emotion that John Williams puts into this book. It's like it makes the most boring, unimpactful, okay, not unimpactful, but like very mundane life. Like, this guy is like miserable most of the time, but not in a romantic way, and make it like actually important. And the whole time I was reading it, I was like, dang, everyone has a story to tell. And I think, I'm not sure if that was John Williams' point, but that's what I took from it, and I really like that. There's this little details in your life that people forget about, but they're important in defining who you are and actually making your life sound interesting if you put it in the right words, which I think is what John Williams does for William Stoner. He talks about how love is changing, and I think something about love as a journey. The person you love at first is not the person you love at last. Just a lot of things like that I love, because personally I don't believe in soulmates. I believe in right person for the time that you're at, and hopefully that person's just like the right one for a long time. But yeah, so I really like how that was kind of talked about here. It kind of had like a building quiet impact, because it wasn't until the end that I was like, wait, this is really good. Yeah, so I think I gave Stoner 4.5 just because it was a little bit of a slower start. Okay, next we have Funny Story. I actually listened to this on audiobook, recommended by my friends. Also very different, but I figured I should give it a shot because I liked Project Hail Mary. And I actually really liked this one. It was really cute. Okay. Almost done, guys. Trust. Okay. Mind Magic by James Doty. The full title of this book is Mind Magic, Neuroscience of Manifestation, and I'm studying neuroscience, so I thought this would be kind of interesting. And I've also read his first book in high school, Into the Magic Shop, which I loved. If you're gonna read a manifesting book, read Into the Magic Shop by James R. Doty. Expectations were very high for Mind Magic, but I didn't really care for it. It was everything for me on paper, but then when I actually read it, it just, something wasn't right. It was very dense and science-backed in the beginning, and sort of just became a lot of stories at the end, which I'm not saying that stories aren't good evidence, but then he kind of says, well, this is what this person experienced, so obviously this. Just that kind of thing. And it's like, well, I'm not really seeing your pattern of thinking. Not that you're wrong, it just doesn't feel as sciencey as I wanted it to. And the only really neuroscience that he really talked about was a little bit of brain evolution and like fight or flight. But like, I don't know. Like maybe I missed something, but the science really didn't feel that connected to what he was trying to say. I will say I didn't do the 6-week whatever program because I had to return this book to the library. And so there could have been stuff that I missed out on. So if you're interested in it and you read his first book, I definitely would recommend to read the first one first. But if you didn't love it, like no. Because you're going to have to use the 6 weeks. Well, I give this, I think, a 3. Next I read Animal Farm. It was good. It was, I mean, for its time, it was great. And it definitely really applies today. So if you don't understand those concepts, definitely read it. But I feel like everyone sort of already knows this stuff. And other books have, or other forms of media, movies, everything have sort of told the same story, but better now because they've built off of Animal Farm. Animal Farm is so influential that I can't dismiss it, but I also am not going to say that it's the best book I've ever read because it's not. So I gave it a 3.75, I think. Okay, and the last book I read in February was the autobiography of Malcolm X. Ugh, this was great. It was very long. I thought that this book was incredible, mostly because of how vulnerable Malcolm X has to be to tell this story. There's so many times when he messes up and bad, or he does something that's just morally not okay, and he still tells the story to show the harsh reality of being a black man in America at this time, because it forces you to act like this, and he's still telling the story knowing that there's going to be people taking it out of context or purposely taking it the wrong way. So I thought that was really brave. In the beginning, he talks very specifically about some of his beliefs, and I'm like, wow, I don't agree with this at all. And then he'll change his beliefs over time, and then I'll agree with more or whatever. But I like that because it can show how much you can change in your capacity to be better, or just nothing is fixed, which I thought was a very great explanation of that. I also really liked the idea of brotherhood or togetherness that this book had. I think it's really important to have a good community around you, and that's proven by this book and Malcolm X's experience with being Muslim. I really liked how this sort of challenged Christianity, and it talked about how white people have their heaven here, and they tell minorities, black people in this story, that they should just act right and be submissive and do whatever they're told so that they can get their heaven after they die. Probably most people have thought about this, but I've had a pretty fortunate life, so yeah, I never thought about it like that, and it really makes you think about religion. And I always thought religion was a good thing because it helped people have something to fall back on. And I'm not saying that this disproves that, but it definitely gives you something else to think about and how religion can be used to control people. I don't love the way women are talked about, but it's also like, if you put it in context, like it's not really about women, but it's just not always great to see how women are talked about sometimes. But yeah, if you're going to read this and you're a woman, just be warned that you're not going to always be talked about as an equal for like most of the book. Overall, I think that's just another criticism of how society makes people think about women. It's just not explicitly said, it's just literally in the pages between the lines. Anyway, Okay, I'm done. Sorry, guys. I read a few books since then, but I'm not even going to get into it because this book video is so long. So I'm going to stop it here. But thank you for watching my first video. If you got through this, please like and comment. And just like tell me if I should keep making videos or if I should just give up. Okay, actually don't tell me that because I'm still going to make videos anyway. I will prepare better next time. I'll have better lighting. I just thought I should get this first video over with and get over my fear because everyone says their first video sucks booty. So that could be this one for me. In the future, I want to kind of have more of a direction with my videos. Talk about maybe the books that left a big impact on me in my life, or maybe just rant about certain things that I've thought about a lot. And just, I don't know, we'll see. I'm probably going to upload a few videos at once, so if you're seeing this and you like the energy of the video, go to my account and watch another one. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great, April Fool's Day. I don't know, maybe I'll post this on April Fool's. Okay, bye.